Hi, my name is Wyatt, and I'm here at the Jewel School workshop. I'm going to be showing you how to make something called the wild wire earrings. It's going to be a really fun project. You'll be making them simultaneous, so you'll be making a pair all at one time, saving you some time. So it's going to be fairly simple. We just are going to need to use a few tools, and let's get started. All right, so you're going to need 24 inches of German-style wire. I'm just taking it out of the spool, and then I'm going to measure. I have a measuring device behind the table here, and I'm going to do 2 feet. And I'm going to give myself just a little bit extra just in case, by about 1 inch or so. And then place your cut. And now I want you to bend this in half. Let's just straighten this out nicely so that we can get the halfway bent well. And this is, again, 20 gauge. And you just want to bend this so that it comes together just like so. And you want to use your fingers to just squeeze this nice and tight. Now you can use some of the nylon jaw pliers here to flatten this out. Let's just go ahead and do that. So this just goes in here like so. And then you're just going to watch it and squeeze it down, that way not marring the finish at all. So we've got that nice and tight there. We want these pliers, you want the wires to be parallel. So we're just gonna kind of do that. Then we use the step bail making pliers. This plier gives you 6 different sizes of each of these. Because we need to make a form that looks somewhat like this, I want that to be, you'll start with this very smallest tip, and then we're gonna work our way up using each one of the steps on this plier to make these loops. And it's just a back and forth. So we start out at the bottom. So you will use the bottom with the smallest loop and just gonna do that with it, okay? Then we're gonna use that loop to fix the larger loop onto it, and then do like so, and then just twist this, the plier. I'm twisting the plier instead of the wire so that we have sort of that type of a look on it. Okay? Now we will use that and open it slightly so we can get this next one in to, oops, I'm gonna flip this over. So just the larger one to bring this back like so, and back around. Now, it's getting a little bit big, a little faster than I wanted, but the okay thing with that is it doesn't matter really what your loops look like down here. What really matters is that you're gonna have the exact same image because you've got 2 wires here. That makes this a whole lot of fun because you don't have to do exactly what I did. You will have the video to go back and look at, and you'll also have the printed version of the instructions, which are going to go, you know, step by step what I did. So with this, you just have to kind of just force this to kind of be in the idea of this type of look. We definitely want it to be bulging on one side, so just remember that. And now since we're here, I can go to a smaller loop. Let's get a really small one here. and bend this around like so. And here I'm using the wire to bend. So whenever you're using the larger or the smaller or whatever feels more comfortable to you, I like using, when I can, the tool, because that will help you to get a nice smooth look on this. All right, so we're there. Now we need another big one, I think, to blurt out towards the this direction, and that's going to be this one. So here I'm going to use both my hand and that, and then we're going to use another little tiny one up here to sort of position our wire so that it's ready to make the next move, which will be this one. And then let's open this up just a little bit so we can get that one in and come back around here so that we don't actually have a loop here. So I'm diverging from what your written instructions will be, just to show you that it doesn't have to be exact. Because you are making both of them at the same time, they're gonna match just right. All right, so we're to about here. So let's just pull this one down just a skosh. And so now you begin to see that just about any kind of design that you decide to put here is going to work really well. See that? You got just a really fun looking thing going on. You can do the bend backs more the way that the sample looks, or not. Okay. So now we're going to bend it up and sort of do something like that. So we have that for you. Okay, there you go. Oh, I love that. I love that shot. I'm going to just bring this here. Now I need a larger space up here to do the final loop that's going to actually contain a bead. So we're going to use this right here to bring this around like so. And then hopefully our bead, which is going to be a 6mm bead, will fit inside there. And that does just right. So I believe that's probably the fourth largest of the fourth smallest, not the largest. Is that the same? 1, 2, 3. No, the third largest. Okay. Now all I need to do is do my loop for the earring, and then make any other adjustments that I might need to do just to make this be a little bit. You may have to do some final adjustments as you get more through this, but I'm just going to squeeze those down. And if you have people that enjoy doing puzzles, you could make these bends look like puzzle pieces also, which would be a whole lot of fun. Okay, now that I've got this semi-built, what I need to do is just cut right here with your flush cutter, with the flush side pointing out. This would be the flush side, and this is the non-flush side. Just cut that, and then that's going to be the loop that we're going to connect to the ear wire once we make the ear wire. So all we have to do to cut this apart is to cut the curve that we made originally and get in there. I think I'm going to undo it just a little bit because we're going to also put a bead off the bottom of that. So I want that to be able to cut right in the center, and then I'll have a flush on one side and the cut on the other side. and a flush on the other side, I mean. So one flush and then flip this and do the flush on the other side. And voila, you have a matching pair of wires that looks decidedly different than the others. So you'll have a couple of different things to be able to make this be your pair of earrings. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you how to do is to bend the small little loops into, that's going to be the top, this is the bottom. We just want to make this into a nice little loop. So flush cut that, which will be the end, and then just bring the pliers like this and just twist with the plier to close down that loop just like that, okay? That's what we want. And I'm gonna do these simultaneously just so you can watch and see how I've done it. So just a little loop here and then twist it. You might have to re-grasp it. You just want this little loop to stick down just slightly so you can have the drop off the bottom of that. Okay, now we're gonna start with our beads, which I think I have some beads here that we're gonna use. The original ones I used lapis, but I'm gonna use amethyst on this one, just to give you a little bit of a different idea on what you can do. So the bead just needs to be a 6mm, and it needs to have a hole the size that will fit 24 gauge wire, which is the wire that I'm gonna be tying those on with. So I've got 24 gauge wire, and I believe I said to get about 3 inches, if that memory serves me correctly. Yeah, about 3 inches. I love having this tape back here. Okay, so 3 inch. And this gets placed into the bead. And you're gonna make a right angle bend on this side, and then an opposite right angle bend on the other side. Just like so. Now, that is what we're gonna use to attach this to this. So you just wanna first pull this open and then wrap the wire down and back around to just to hold it for now. And then this other one, you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Oops. Just like so. This is the easy side because it's open, and the other side will be almost as easy. So that one goes there, and this one goes here. And we're gonna wrap it just like that. Now, you don't have to go around too many times, but a couple of times is probably a good idea. Then once you've gone around the 2 times, and if you can, make sure that these wraps are fairly tight. And you want this to be about at that distance. And after you go the second time, we've got beads sliding around here. Then you just make sure one wire is pointing down and the other wire is going to be pointing up. And come in with your flush cutters and just snip right one little snip. And then you're going to do the same thing over here from this side. And go in and cut that. Just like so. All right, so now we've got our bead attached on one side. We would go to the other side and do the same thing. But for now, I'm gonna just tuck these little ends that are sticking up down with my bent chain nose pliers. You can use regular chain nose. I prefer bent chain nose. I can see things a little bit better with it in certain instances. So you just want to get that nice and tight, and just get that little end of the wire that's sticking out to bend in like so, instead of it sticking out once you cut it. So we can do the same thing here, just by grasping here. Well, it's best to go from underneath when you can get the plier in there, and just squeeze and turn and squeeze, so that it sort of burnishes that little piece of wire. Okay, so now that's the properly installed bead. If you can get it to squeeze a little bit down so that that's right in the center of the line of this earring. Then grasp this wire and bring it to a full circle, just like so. And then come in here, and I'm going to snip it just right here. And we're going to leave that one open so that when we make the ear wire, we can just hook the ear wire right in. But first I've got to hook the bottom bead, which of course you need a little piece of the 24 gauge wire. And I just like to do a real simple loop on this one. So I just pop this on, and I'm gonna make just a little bend back, which is a fun way to do this. First you have to make sure that this bend back, I just bent it and then squeezed it so that that's completely tight there. Oops, you see that? Yeah, right there, yeah. So we've got that nice and tight. Then you just come back and cut off about half of that. So just cut off about half of that. Make sure the bead doesn't come off. Sometimes the hole is big enough that it can come off. Now you want to use a round nose plier. I'll be using my multipliers, and just make a loop. And how I do this is I just use the pliers in this direction and then bend to the side, wrap this wire back around the top of the round nose, and then just tighten this down. Then move this down here, grasp a hold, and wrap this wire around and down to the bead. Then come in, make your snip, and then using these pliers once again, just reach and grab that little tiny pinky that's sticking out, so to speak, and just squeeze that nicely. And then open the jump ring that you made on the bottom of the ear wire. Insert that, bend this back, and the bottom of the earring is now finished. Pretty fun, pretty elegant looking. It's a great wire form. You can then rebend these things, but I would wait until you get the other one made so that you can make sure that all of the bends are done in the same fashion. So now we're going to make the ear wire. We want to keep this handy, this piece handy, so that we can make an ear wire that has some of the same general look. To make the ear wires, we're going to use an 11-inch piece of wire, similar to what we did before. And this 11-inch wire, then we're going to bend that in half, and we're going to make the two ear wires just the same way we did the bottom part of the earring. So once again, we have an 11-inch piece. We're going to bend it hopefully right in the center. And if you don't get it right in the center, you'll probably still be okay. but it's good to get it as close to center as possible. And if you're worried about running out of wire, you could always cut a 12-inch piece so you have a little extra ½ inch on either side. And then just squeeze that nice and tight, just like we did before. And back to our step bail making pliers. And for this, we want to begin by making the loop on the bottom of the ear wire. And this is going to be the loop that will open up and become our the loop for the earring. So starting at the top or at the bottom here, we want to make some back and forth movements. This is the one that I used for the other one. I'm going to make this a little bit different because we've got some different patterns here. So the first thing I want to do is get a bend so that we have a nice, and I think I want this to come out so that I've got sort of a teardrop coming off of this. So here I've got the, once I pull this out, then I've got that sort of more centered, if you will. So now I want to make a loop over here. And then because we had sort of a bump in that, I think I want it to come out to here and kind of go over like that. And then a bigger bend here. Oops, smaller bend, sorry. And then come up, maybe a little here. And then another bend down here. Now I'm gonna mash these down so that they're looking a little bit different than what we've got here. So I want to move this down and this here and this down here and this maybe a little bit up here, so that we've got sort of something like that going to kind of blend with the way this is looking. And you don't have to worry about this because we're going to just twist that loop once we cut it free. So now I'm to this point, and I think I want this to be more of a closed one and then go up from here. But I need this to be a little bit more centered here. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. And I'm gonna push with my nail here to just kind of center the whole thing, because this then becomes our ear wire that will sort of match. So I'm gonna just pull this and push this back, just like so. Okay, now I can either bend with my hand or I can use the largest portion of this, which happens to make a perfect French ear wire look, to come down and around here. And then down here somewhere, I like to put a little bend in the ear wire, just so that you can. It's just better to keep the ear wire from coming out of the ear once you have things going. All right, and then you want to cut this. Oops. You want to cut this, but this time I want you to cut in the opposite direction that I always tell you to cut. So normally it's flush side stays with the piece of jewelry, and the sharp edge goes with what's waste. This time I want you to do that backwards. I want that straight line across across these, because when you use the battery-operated bead reamer with the tool that rounds this off so that it goes into an ear very nicely, instead of cutting the person's ear at the time that you do that. So what I'm going to do is use the battery-operated bead reamer that has the wire rounder in it, and then just hold on to this, kind of move these apart just a little bit, and insert this onto the end of the wire, which is 20 gauge, and I just press with my thumb. So my thumb is up here, and I'm pressing with the thumb, and I'm just rolling this around. So if you think about the area of the wire that has been cut, and when you cut with the flush, you have to really smooth the entire outside around the wire. When you cut with the opposite side, all you have to do is cut the little ridge that's been cut into it. See, so you can already see that the ridge is reduced on the one, and just have to do the same thing on the other side, and then you're going to feel it. You always want to wear safety glasses when you're doing anything with grinding or stuff like this, because there will be a little bit of ground metal, and you don't want any of that getting in your eyes. And just make sure that you feel it, and make sure that it's nice and smooth. Do both of them at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but first one, then the other. And then just make sure they're nice and smooth. You may have to go a little wider, just to make sure that's nice and smooth. Okay, that is nice and smooth and ready to go. So now all we have to do is cut the center of this like we did before. And that frees these from being stuck. Now, there's a number of ways you can do this. This can remain like this, and your ear wire will be to the side, and this will be to the front. Or you can put this way, and this would go the opposite way. Now, how can you do that? So I'll make one that's going to sit this way. So I'm just going to come in here and cut off the end so that this is nicely ready. Pop this in here, and then carefully, I think I'll use the nylon jaw insert here to squeeze that closed. So it's a nice careful squeeze. So now this ear wire and earring, sorry, are ready to, that's ready to be worn. However, if you don't like the way this looks, you can take a pair of pliers and twist this so that the ear wire is to the side, and the front is in line with it. So it depends on how you see this as being your piece of jewelry. So let's do that one like that, and I'll do this one. Oh, this one's the other way. So this one I did and put the ear wire that's coming out in the front like that. You could do that with this one, and I'll show you how you do that. So just take this piece of wire and just kind of twist it to the side very carefully. You're going to put another sort of bend in it. So now that is can go this way, and then you could rebend either the bottom or the top to make this not be flat. I think I would like it better the opposite direction, so I'm just going to grasp this and twist it 90 degrees. Now I've got this. This is kind of the way I think I like it best, because you've got this nice big custom ear wire, And then you've got this really elegant looking curved wild wire earring. Thank you so much for being at the workshop with me. I look forward to seeing you all on my jtv.com/extra show. I'm on Friday mornings from 9 until 10, usually a little bit before 9, and we stay on a little bit later just in case you have questions and things that need to be answered. So as always, get all of your jewelry supplies from jtv.com, and I'll see you soon.